Hi everyone, I'm Shannon and welcome to today's video. So I normally don't post on Saturdays, but yesterday I got an updated email for the healthy sail protocols for my Royal Caribbean sailing on the Freedom of the Seas, sailing on Friday, July 2nd. So as I'm posting this, it'll be less than a week and cannot wait. But we got some protocols last week. They have since changed. There's a couple tweaks here and there. So I wanted to kind of share with everybody because I know there's a lot of information going around and the protocols keep changing. Now, one of the things I will say is that in this email, they did say that this is specific for the July 2nd, 2021 sailing. And I think it's mainly because I think that it's probably going to change week to week or even sailing to sailing, because it's the Freedom of the Seas will be doing 3 and 4 night sailings starting on July 2nd. So I will be on the first one, and I expect that they're going to be making tweaks here and there as things progress. So let me go ahead and get started as far as what the protocols state. Now, there were no updates as far as the testing. So as of what we got last week was anybody 16 and older who's eligible to get the vaccine, but who is unvaccinated or doesn't provide their vaccination status, they need to arrive with a PCR test taken within 3 days, negative PCR test. And then they're going to be taking a PCR test at the port before embarkation, and then within 24 hours of disembarkation. And it's going to be a $136 charge total for both of those tests that's going to be added to your CPAS card. So that is the updates as far as that. That hasn't changed. There was no change on that. Now, I am vaccinated. My son obviously is not. He is 5, so he obviously is not vaccinated. So he will have to take he doesn't have to come with a test, but he will take a test at the port and then within 24 hours of disembarkation. And he is not charged because he's not eligible for the vaccine. Now, I am choosing to go ahead and get him tested before we leave. So I'm going to still follow that protocol of within 3 days, mainly because I just want to be, have a little kind of cushion to know that he is negative, because kids usually are asymptomatic. So I want to make sure he's negative, and then I just have that negative PCR test. So when we get to the port, at least I have it, at least I know. And then if by the chance that he is positive, then we have enough time that we can go ahead and cancel. So that hasn't changed. It's $136 for both tests, so per person. I know in my shorts I said it was per test, but that was incorrect. It is total. So no change on that. That hasn't changed. So I think that's pretty, typical. So now let's get into what some of the gist of what the email said. And it says, so first of all, mask and physical distancing. I know that's the big thing. And it says, when indoors, CDC guidelines requires that all guests ages 2 and older to wear masks unless they are actively eating or drinking. And the CDC does make allowances for guests to remove their masks in venues and events dedicated to fully vaccinated parties. So since many of our guests are fully vaccinated, you'll find plenty of these opportunities. They're not going to be required in your stateroom, obviously, outside on open decks, or at Perfect Day at Coco Cay. And then they also state that they're going to probably receive updated guidelines from the CDC. So it says that the entire process and the boarding and the ship and the port is all set up for physical distancing. So I think that's kind of something we all expected. So next up is dining, and this was the one that I thought was very interesting. So the main dining room, which spans 2 decks, if you notice with Royal Caribbean, there's usually, I think it's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th deck, and usually the 5th deck is my time dining, and then the 3rd and 4th deck are the main dining room. So those are the ones that have the 1st and 2nd seating. So the main dining room, which spans 2 decks, will have 1 deck for everyone, which includes parties with both vaccinated and unvaccinated guests. That would be me because my son is not vaccinated, such as parents with unvaccinated children, and the other deck will only be for vaccinated guests. My time dining will not be available to parties that include unvaccinated guests. So we didn't want to do my time dining this trip, but we wouldn't have been able to do anyway. Specialty restaurants will be open to everyone, as will grab and go cafes. If you prefer a buffet, Windjammer will be open to everyone for breakfast and lunch. So it's not going to be open for dinner, and that's something that we did on the Disney Magic was we took our son to the buffet, we gave him some food, and then we went and sometimes ate at the dining room without him and sent him to the kids club. That's not an option here. Obviously, there's probably some grab and goes that if I wanted to get a pizza or something like that, I could. But given such a short trip, he's probably going to the dining room. And at the Windjammer, the food is served by our crew, which is something we're seeing on the adventure. And it also says we recommend that you make dining reservations via the cruise planner. However, dining reservations hasn't been available via the cruise planner. I actually checked before filming this, so hopefully we'll see if they're available, but they have not been available via the cruise planner up until now. Next up is bars and lounges. Many bars and lounges will be open to everyone, and others will be available only to vaccinated guests. And there will be cruise station nearby and signage to help direct guests. So some bars and lounges are going to be open to everyone, and some are going to be only for vaccinated guests. That's going to be interesting. Obviously, it's not going to affect me because I'm vaccinated and I'm not going to be taking my son into a bar. So that's not really going to be an issue for me. Casino. Given the casino's physical constraints, there is not enough space to accommodate everyone. So given that most of our adult guests are vaccinated, the casino will only be open to vaccinated guests. So that's interesting. So if you are not vaccinated, you're not going to the casino. And it's something similar with the fitness and the spa. So the fitness center will have dedicated operating hours for everyone, as well as hours reserved for vaccinated guests. Salon services will be available to everyone, but given the enclosed space and longer length of spa services, the treatment rooms used to provide facials, massages, and other services will only be available to vaccinated guests. Now for entertainment, it states entertainment venues will offer shared space seating and more showtimes throughout your cruise. Select showtimes will be for everyone and other showtimes for vaccinated guests only. And then it says to be sure to make reservations once you're on board. So you can't make them before. So that's interesting. I'm not big on shows, and we'll probably go to the ice show, but that's something I'm going to have to consider because my son would probably want to go to the ice show if there's one. I think there's one, I'm not sure. But if there's an ice show, that's probably something, and it would have to be one that's for vaccinated guests. So that's going to be interesting. Next up is the Diamond Lounge for loyalty guests, and the Diamond Lounge will be open and operating at 50% capacity to allow for physical distancing. And then the Adventure Ocean and Teen Lounges use spaces will be open to all children and teens. So that's great, because if the Adventure Ocean was going to be closed, that was going to be an issue for us. And the last topic covered is about going ashore, and it says when visiting ports other than Perfect Day at Coco Cay, parties that include unvaccinated guests, including parents traveling with unvaccinated children, are required to participate in shore excursions offered by local tour operators approved by Royal Caribbean. These tours meet our health and safety requirements for unvaccinated guests. Entirely vaccinated traveling parties may visit the port freely. All guests are subject to restrictions and requirements as defined by local authorities in the ports we visit. Details will be provided on board. So this isn't going to affect us because we're not planning to get off at Nassau. We are planning on getting off at Coco Cay, but I think, just keep that in mind that if you have children that aren't vaccinated or you're not vaccinated yourself, you do need to take a Royal Caribbean shore excursion in order to visit the port. So that's it. Those are the updates from Royal Caribbean regarding my sailing on July 2nd. So I will be continuing to doing updates. There might be shorts, they might be on Instagram. So I'm going to be doing updates as well as doing updates and probably some live streams from the cruise on Friday from the port and what it's like, and then also what it's like to travel with a child, especially one as young as 5 that's not vaccinated, and the different precautions that are going to be in place for that. So be sure to follow me and subscribe. And with that, if you like this video, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.